2023, Shaping World Peace and Sustainable Development through Interfaith Harmony. It's a beautiful day, an important occasion where we are inaugurating and assembling for this beautiful, on this beautiful morning, all the delegates, W. Cole Durham, the President of G20 Interfaith Forum USA, Honorable Swami Amrit Swarupananda Puri Ji, Archbishop Felix Machado, Sheikh al-Islam Allah Shukur Pashazadeh, Mrs. Marzia Dalal, and revered Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karat sir are making their way. I would like to request everyone for ringing the bell of democracy, or they can first join hands for lighting the traditional lamp. I request all the dignitaries to kindly join hands for lighting the traditional lamp. Please welcome revered Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karat sir with a round of applause, my friends. A beautiful procession of Varkaris followed by the band of Maratha Light Infantry has reached this auditorium, the World Peace Dome, another auspicious place where we are holding this inaugural session today. All the dignitaries are requested to join hands for lighting the traditional lamp, a lamp that signifies and has a very, very important meaning and symbol in our tradition. The lighting of lamp symbolizes that it will keep showing us the path. All the dignitaries are joining hands for lighting the traditional lamp. I would like to request everyone to kindly accept the chairs in the audience is requested to be seated, please. Let's give a big round of applause, my friends, as a big round of applause. Students, the G20 Interfaith Summit 2023, Shaping World Peace and Sustainable Development through Interfaith Harmony, is formally inaugurated through this lighting of traditional lamp. We all are fortunate to witness this moment in World Peace Hall today. Such a beautiful and important moment. I request everyone to join hands for ringing the bell of democracy. The bell signifies that we all stand united for the cause of world peace. So this is very, very special moment where all the dignitaries are joining hands for ringing the bell of world peace. Everybody is joining hands for ringing the bell of world peace. As the bell would ring, we will join this celebration by joining hands. The bell of world peace is ringing. Let's give a big round of applause and join this. The bell of world peace is ringing on the occasion of G20 Interfaith Summit 2023. I would like to request W. Cole Durham Jr., Swami Atma Swarupananda Puri Ji, Archbishop Felix Machado, Sheikh al-Islam Allah Shukur Pasha Zadeh, Madam Marzia Dalal to kindly come up stage. I once again request W. Cole Durham Jr., Honorable Swami Atma Swarupananda Puri, Archbishop Felix Machado, Sheikh al-Islam Allah Shukur Pasha Zadeh, Marzia Dalal to kindly come up stage. My friends, the G20 Interfaith Forum offers an annual platform where a network of religiously linked institutions and initiatives engage on global agendas. The annual G20 summits are critical time and place where priority global issues are considered. The G20 process has evolved since it was established in year 2008 with various platforms that allows different sectors and communities to present ideas and recommendations to global leaders. Our goal is to contribute meaningful insight and recommendations that respond to and helps shape the G20 and thus the global policy agendas. Beginning in Australia in 2014, G20 Interfaith Forum has convened annually in the G20 host country. The forums have considered wide-ranging agendas including economic models, systems, environment, women, families, children, work, humanitarian aid, health, education, freedom of religion and belief, global security, governance, human rights, and the rule of law. The agenda for each forum is framed taking into account the annual G20 priorities. My friends, today I would like to bring to the attention of all the dignitaries on the dais as well as everyone in the audience that God is the source of everything. The foundational definition of God implies that He is the source of everything that we do. The Bhakti philosophy helps us understand the God's mercifulness. My friends, today, on the occasion of Krishna Bhagwan's birth celebration, we are inaugurating Interfaith Summit G20. My friends, it is indeed our good fortune that today we are able to witness this very moment. My friends, I would like to take this session forward where I would like to request each one of you to rise in your seats for national anthem. I would like to request everyone to rise in their seats for national anthem. I request my audio team to kindly ensure the monitor feed on the front side. Monitor feed is very weak. Please go ahead. Thank you.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Thank you very much. I request everyone to please keep standing. Can we have the monitor feed, please? I am not getting any monitor feed. My friends, now I'm going to request everyone on the stage as well as in the audience to please participate in a very, very special prayer. I know that the moment we say prayer, it is associated with a particular religion, caste, creed, or section of society. But this prayer has been in the practice for last more than 40 years in the history of our institution. This prayer is called World Peace Prayer. If you pay attention to the words of this prayer, you would know that it does not symbolizes or stands for any caste, creed, or religion. It purely talks about the well-being of entire universe and humanity. And hence, I would like to request each one of you to please fold your hands, close your eyes, and bring the image of your mother, father, your deity in front of your eyes and wholeheartedly participate in World Peace Prayer.
गुरुर्विष्णु तस्मै श्री गुरु मादाय पूर्णमे शांति शांति शांति.
Thank you very much. I request everyone to kindly be seated, please. It was such a beautiful, I would say, visual, where we saw the representatives of all the religions present here today for this Interfaith Summit, holding hands and praying together for the well-being of entire humanity. My friends, the objectives of G20 Interfaith Forum has many agendas. Exploring the links between the economic development and religion and religious freedom through informed and scholarly discussions is one of them. And today, we are gathering here in huge numbers to have such kind of scholarly discussions. After this inaugural session, we are going to split in various discussion groups and going to have this kind of scholarly discussion which will contribute to the objectives of G20 Interfaith Forum. I'm really happy to share with you one important fact that surfaced just yesterday, just few hours ago. I'm sure many would have heard the discussion that is in news since yesterday. Well, I'm keeping the political aspect of it completely away in this discussion and bring out the essence of it. I'm sure you would know that the executive president and the founder and the one who created the platforms like Bharatiya Chhatra Sansad, National Legislators Conference, Sri Rahul V. Karal, has been discussing the breaking of colonial mindset and coming understanding our own self for last many years. Probably it is a very important step that what happened yesterday, that yesterday there was a discussion that should we start calling our country as Bharat instead of India, the name that has been to this motherland for centuries. So it is all about understanding your own self, how we can contribute to the world and humanity. My friends, today I'm sure we will have many such important discussions in this Interfaith Summit, and I'm sure we all will come together and play our role towards humanity and world peace. I would now like to invite, before we start this session, that we all must concentrate, we all must calm down, and we all must focus towards this cause. And meditation is yet another important way of doing it. I would like to invite the Associate Dean of Faculty of Peace Studies at MIT World Peace University, Professor Milind Patre, to give us a small session of peace meditation. I would like to request each one of you, if you can for small amount of time, put all your devices, phones, everything away and just participate in meditation session. Over to you, sir.
Very good morning, all of you. Thank you so much. Everyone wants to connect himself or herself with higher or the highest. Higher people, highest people up to the president and the prime ministers, everyone wants it. We take pleasure and joy into that. But there is no higher, nothing higher than the Supreme Self. And what are the ways and means to connect ourselves with that Supreme, the ultimate? Thankfully, mankind has one such methodology, we can say scientific methodology, through which by continuous meditation on meditating on the primordial sound, the Bij mantra, the three-letter A-U-M, Aum, it is possible. It is possible that all the three states of consciousness, that is waking, dreaming, sleeping, we can transcend and get ourselves merged with the Absolute and the Supreme Self. And therefore, it is not possible only by 2 minutes of meditation, but just to get a glimpse of that, we will just begin this session and experience the stillness if it's possible. So I request everyone, at least for 2 minutes, to stop thinking, at least don't give thought to your thinking, just be detached. You can just be comfortable in your chairs. You can gently close your eyes. And we will play an audio of Om meditation. You can either participate joyfully if we can recite, or you can simply silently listen to the Om. So I request everyone to close her eyes, close your eyes, and I request technical team to play Om. Keep your eyes closed. Keep your eyes closed. No movement. No movement. Just witness stillness within you for next 20 seconds. Okay, you can gently open your eyes, and thank you very much for participating in this experience. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Professor Milind Patreji. Thank you very much for giving us that experience. My friends, before we start any discussion, it is important to understand that the reason for which we have gathered here today. And to brief you in detail, I would like to request my team if they can please show us a small film made on the G20 Interfaith Summit. Over to you, team.
The G20 Interfaith Summit, organized in partnership with World Peace Center, Alandi, Pune, and the Interfaith Alliance for Safer Communities, along with UNESCO, aims to foster global... The G20 Interfaith Summit, organized in partnership with World Peace Center, Alandi, Pune, and the Interfaith Alliance for Safer Communities, along with UNESCO, aims to foster global peace and holistic development. These gatherings will identify the crucial issues for the 2023 agenda, while reflecting on the G20 Interfaith Forum's journey since 2014 in engaging with global agendas through the G20 process. The summit is being organized at the World Peace Dome, the world's largest dome located in Pune, India. The summit highlights the need for new leadership that combines an ethical and pragmatic vision with nuanced global and local insights and ensuring comprehensive engagement. The summit's key activities include high-level dialogues about global debates, panel discussions and workshops, showcasing initiatives implemented within communities, and facilitating new opportunities among participants. The summit will bring together a distinguished group of leaders deeply engaged in religious dimensions of global debates, ranging from socio-economic crises to the Sustainable Development Goals agenda. The G20 Interfaith Summit is a significant opportunity to promote the culture of peace and holistic development globally.
And now, as per the traditions, I would like to request Revered Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karat, sir, to kindly felicitate and welcome the dignitaries on the dais. First and foremost, I would like to request sir to kindly felicitate and welcome the President of G20 Interfaith Forum, United States of America, W. Cole Durham Jr. Please put your hands together, my friends. He's the President of G20 Interfaith Forum. A big round of applause. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity and being here today. A big round of applause, my friends. I now request Sri Rahul V. Karat sir to kindly felicitate and welcome the President of Amrita Vishwa Vidyapitham, Honorable Swami Atma Swarupananda Puri ji. I request revered Professor Dr. Vishwanath Karat sir to kindly felicitate the Chairman of One Global Forum and National Secretary of Indian National Congress, Honorable Dr. Dalbir Singh ji. A big round of applause, my friends, for all the dignitaries present here. And welcome Archbishop Felix Machado ji, the Archbishop of Vasai, General Secretary of Catholic Bishops' Conference of India. I felicitate Sheikh al-Islam Allah Shukur Pashazadeh, the spiritual leader of Muslims in Azerbaijan and member of Muslim Council of Elders. Round of applause, my friends. Also request sir to kindly felicitate and welcome Honorable King Hussain ji. A big round of applause, my friends, to all the dignitaries present here today on this inaugural occasion of G20 Interfaith Summit 2023. Thank you very much. Thank you. And my friends, to set the tone of this inaugural session of G20 Interfaith Summit, I would like to invite the President of G20 Interfaith Forum, W. Cole Durham Jr., to address the gathering. I request all of you to welcome the President of G20 Interfaith Forum with a big round of applause.
So, with apologies to Dr. Gautam Bapat, I'm going to do this in a little bit different way than the program unfolds. In the United States, we have a practice, if you're doing an appellate argument, you can reserve a portion of your time. So I'm going to just say a few words and introduce what's happening in this session. Let the others speak, and I'll say a few words again at the end. But let me first begin by apologizing. Catherine Marshall, who is the vice president of our organization and would generally be here, faced a conflict. It was the first week of class for her, and she couldn't get away. So she is not with us, but we have a film clip from her taken in her home. I was there, and this is a wonderful piece of background on the history of the G20 that I think will form a fitting beginning for our session today. I need to thank her for all she has done, and then thank others but I hope you will feel invited into her home as we get her perspectives. Catherine is truly one of the global figures on religion and development. She worked at the World Bank for many years. She worked with the president of the World Bank, who first started really focusing on the relationship of religion and development, and she has had a very significant role to play. I also want to just express thanks at the beginning to Dr. Karad, to his wonderful staff. I call them the two Milinds, Milind Panda and Milind Prate. Milind Prate you just participated in the meditation session. And I have to tell him I am particularly grateful this morning. You know, when you run an organization and an event as big as this one, there are little pressures, and it's been good for me to have a little bit of decompression time in this beautiful hall where so much is symbolized about the relationship of spirituality and other forms of knowledge, and I hope that will be a fitting setting for us all. So, as I say, I'm reserving a portion of my time. I'll be followed by the film clip from Catherine Marshall, and then the Honorable Swami Amritaswarupananda Puri. I hope that was reasonably close. I am not gifted with Indian names, but we're very gifted to have him here. He played a critical role in the C20, the Civil Society 20 of this year's India G20 event. And I think it will be really valuable for us to have his perspective, and then I'll say a few words following that. So I don't know if we can just go to the film clip, or if Dr. Bapat, if you wanted to say something about Catherine first. I think maybe we can just go straight to the film clip of Catherine Marshall. Okay.
Helping to manage the most urgent.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
So you want to play us the video now?
Yes.
Okay, may I request my technical team to kindly play the video of Professor and Senior Fellow of Executive Director, World Faiths Development Dialogue at Berkeley Center for Religion, Peace and World Affairs, Georgetown University, USA,
The G20.
Dr. Catherine Marshall.
The G20 Interfaith Forum's journey, since it was launched in 2014, has taken us to many issues and to many different parts of the world. My purpose here is to answer some of the basic questions. Why the G20? Why interfaith? And what has been our purpose? How have we changed over the years? And where do we see ourselves heading? The G20 journey is approaching a 10-year mark. So it's a good time for us to take stock and to look to the future. So first, why the G20? The G20 is part of the global governance structure. It's an important part of it. It was established in 1999, largely with the objective of helping to manage the most urgent crises facing the world. But since 1999, it's evolved and particularly was reshaped by the 2008 economic crisis. Over the years, its scope has broadened so that it now basically takes in the full global agenda, which means conflict, geopolitics, economic matters, which are a central focus, but also climate change, social policy, etc. The G20 was designed to be flexible. It rotates every year to a different country as the host. It has no permanent secretariat. And it is designed to be more inclusive than the G7, G8. In other words, it has a number of other major countries of the world, which is why it's 20. It also, though, is less inclusive, clearly, than the United Nations and some other organizations which have a much larger membership. So it fits into these different categories in important ways. So the idea behind the G20 is that it is a meeting of leaders. It is focused very much on the individuals. It is focused on their summit, which happens once a year. So for 2023, the summit will be in September 9th and 10th in India. And it rotates, as I said, from country to country. There is some controversy around the role of the G20 because of its exclusive nature, in other words, those who are not represented. But it is also, in a very practical sense, small enough, personal enough, that this summit of leaders, prepared by the Sherpas who move towards the summit, are able to have a real engagement as part of this governance system. So that's why the G20. So why interfaith? Why religion? The idea, the core idea, is that the worlds of religion belong at the central policy-making tables of the world. The estimates, some estimates suggest that over 80% of the world's population has a religious affiliation. So this highly complex world of religions has a distinctive flavor, distinctive voice, and it is, in our view, very important that that voice be represented in global governance structures, and particularly the G20, which has this focal character. There have been suggestions that the worlds of religion live in a different realm, that they should not and have not historically been part of these decision-making bodies. But the practice, the reality is that religious institutions are involved in every one of the critical issues that face us today, whether it is conflict, clearly, peace building, education, climate, social protection, care of the most vulnerable. And for that reason, drawing the idea of the G20 Interfaith Forum is to draw on the best of the work and experience from these worlds of religion and to bring them into the global governance process. But that takes us to the next question, which is, how does the G20 Interfaith Forum fit within this broader constellation of institutions, entities, etc., that are part of the G20 system, the G20 universe writ large? Because over the years there have been many different organizations that have basically taken on a role within the G20 system. There are ministerials, so different ministers, health, education, environment, etc., who meet to provide counsel to the G20 leaders when they meet. There are special working groups, for example, on governance and corruption. There are also a series of engagement groups. And one suggestion has been that the worlds of religion should be part of those engagement groups. So, for example, the C20, which is civil society, or even the B20, which is business, or W20, which is women, or Y20, which is youth. And we have in fact worked with particularly the T20, which is a remarkable set of think tanks that support the G20 process. However, our view is that the perspectives, the experience of this religious world, the interfaith world particularly, that brings them together, deserves an independent voice, doesn't fit in any of the other categories. And therefore the G20 Interfaith Forum has continued as an independent but coordinated part of the G20 process. There has been discussion as to whether it should be recognized formally as part of the G20 process as an engagement group. And from various perspectives, both the G20, which would need to have a consensus, a full consensus, to engage a formal interfaith body as part of the G20, but also from our perspective as the G20 Interfaith, there has been continuing discussion, and at this point we are very much part of the G20 process, but without the formality of a formal engagement group. And this is the way in which we have operated now for some years. So what does the G20 Interfaith Forum do, and what is its end objective? The Interfaith Forum began in 2014 largely as an academic effort. A group of scholars of religion and some religious leaders who met roughly in the same period as the summit, but without any direct engagement between the meetings, the forum, and the G20 process itself. Over the years, moving from Australia to Turkey to China to Germany as the host for the G20, this has changed. And particularly after Germany, the idea, both coming from outside and coming from the network, the body that represents the G20 Interfaith Forum, that there needed to be a closer relationship, and that the idea for the G20 Interfaith is that it will have an impact on the deliberations and on the decisions of the G20 leaders. And that has changed the ways in which the G20 Interfaith Forum and its advisory council has worked over the years, with a progressive sharpening of the analytic work and the effort to develop policy recommendations and to convey them to the Sherpas and thus to the G20 leaders. So there has been, as I said, a steady increase in the ambition and in the mechanisms that the G20 Forum represents. So that takes me to the next question of what are the priorities, what are the main issues that the G20 Interfaith Forum sees as its objective, its focus. Of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, 169 targets that cover pretty much every issue from peace to people to prosperity to economics, etc., there is not a single one where religious communities, religious ideas, religious leaders, religious actors are not involved in some way. But clearly there is a need for an effort like the G20 Interfaith Forum, which draws on networks of different communities across the world. There is a need for us to focus. And in this way, first, we have a very clear central focus, which is on the most vulnerable communities in the world. The refugees, for example, children who are victims of violence, the women who are not included in social life and communities in many parts of the world, those who are left behind. And so this focus on drawing attention, keeping attention on the world's most vulnerable, on those who are disadvantaged. That is the central message and the central focus of the G20 Interfaith Forum from year to year. We have also focused on a number of issues that have particular importance for religious communities, and that includes, for example, the impact of the COVID pandemic and the broader issues of pandemic preparedness, of health systems, and both the ethical but also the very practical issues that are involved. We have focused over the years on the climate issue, and particularly in that sense on the Interfaith Rainforest Initiative, which is a partnership that involves United Nations, local communities, religious communities, indigenous people in trying to protect the lungs of the earth, which is the rainforest. We focused on refugee issues, on forced migration, on trafficking, on issues of the food crisis. So a combination of issues that are part of urgent issues that demand action, where the G20 leaders and where religious leaders working together can make a difference, but also focusing on the long-term issues, those issues that really reflect the deeper causes behind today's most urgent problems on the global agenda. So that is the basic objective, to be selective, to focus on the issues where religious communities have experience on the ground, have analytic work through the academic side, have prophetic voices coming from wise religious leaders. All of those issues together present the broad agenda, and each year, depending on the most urgent priorities, we focus on bringing the most urgent, the most compelling issues to the attention of the G20 leaders through the Sherpas, as well as through the media of the world, and through communicating with communities inside but also beyond the G20, for example, through the African Union and other African countries. So that brings us to looking at how does the G20 Interfaith Forum work, and where do we see ourselves going in the future. The G20 Forum has an advisory council that has expanded over the years with each G20 meeting, with each forum that is very international, that has people coming from different parts of the world and from different sectors. So scholars, religious leaders, activists, a whole set of different communities and people. But above all, we see ourselves as what we call a network of networks, because there are so many powerful networks working, for example, on climate, on refugee issues, on children, etc. we seek to bring the best of those ideas into the G20 process. So that is the way we work. There's a very small secretariat with very few people who are keeping the trains moving, making sure that working groups, for example, bring their insights. We work through an annual forum in most cases, in other words, an event which brings everything together, but also through participation in a wide range of other meetings at regional level, at country level, some of them participating in global events. For example, the Global Refugee Forum, which will be taking place in December, but a number of other issues around the United Nations, the multilateral development banks, etc. So that is the way that the G20 Interfaith Forum works. It's not producing work itself, that's not the objective, but it is to try to draw on this very rich patchwork, mosaic of different activities that involve an element of the religious world and particularly the interfaith efforts to bring together wisdom from different communities. So, looking to the future, where do we see ourselves going? This year, the host for the G20 Interfaith, the G20 is India. And in December, the baton, the leadership, will pass to Brazil. And the year after, it will go to South Africa. In other words, the rotation continues. And we in the G20 Interfaith Forum see ourselves focusing very much on both the country level, in other words, the host country activities, but also on the G20 community at large, and through that at the global agenda, epitomized in the Sustainable Development Goals, but also in a number of the other decision processes, for example, the economic and social communities that are seeking to stabilize, to move the world forward towards reforms. Our objective is to pursue continuing analysis, but also a sharpening of specific ideas and recommendations to take on new issues that have urgency in any particular year, and to work more deliberately to ensure that the recommendations that we make are conveyed effectively in a dialogue process with the G20 leadership and with the broader communities that they represent. So the inspiration, the basic idea for the G20 Interfaith Forum is that this remarkable, complex, diverse world of religious communities has too often been excluded from the major policy centers, the major policy-making bodies in the world, and we are seeking effective ways to bring that experience, that wisdom, what we call this prophetic voice that looks beyond the most immediate issues towards a brighter and a bolder future. We're working to bring the network of networks together to bring the wisdom, the experience that they represent into this particular forum, which is the G20 process. Thank you.
It would have been more clear now to all of us that what exactly we are trying to achieve here. Thank you very much, Madam Catherine Marshall, for enlightening us today on this important occasion. And now, my friends, It is my good fortune that I would like to invite the important speaker of this session. Today we have here the galaxy of people present here, and now it is time that we understand their views and what kind of vision that they share with us on this G20 Interfaith Summit. I would like to invite on stage the President of Amrita Vishwa Vidyapitam, Honorable Swami Atma Swarupananda Puriji. But before I invite him to address the gathering, I would like to share a small, I would say, insight into his life. Swami Amrita Swarupananda Puriji is the Vice Chancellor of Mata Amritanandamayi Math and the President of Amrita Vishwa Vidyapitam. He is the head disciple of renowned humanitarian and spiritual leader Shri Mata Amritanandamayi Devi Ji. He has been living in Amrit Puri Ashram since inception, that is in late 1970s. He holds a master's in philosophy and is a renowned author and translator. Has written The Irresistible Attraction of Divinity in year 2019. The Color of Rainbow is also, as well as Amma's biography. He has also translated it into English, more than 10 volumes of the conversations between Amma and devotees, for which he has also served as a compiler. He is the magnificent singer and composer of bhajans and has traveled around the world more than 30 times with Amma in her service. Please put your hands together and welcome, with a big round of applause, my friends, the President of Amrita Vishwa Vidyapitam, Honorable Swamiji.
Premamritanandamayyai nityam namo. Humbly bow down to my Guru, Amma, Sri Mata Amritanandamayi Devi, the C20 chair under India's G20 presidency 2023. My namaskarams, love and greetings to Sri Vishwanath Karad, Sri Ko Roham, and respected religious leaders on stage and dignitaries of the stage, brothers and sisters. I stand before you to highlight the remarkable outcomes achieved through the C20 engagement group under India's G20 presidency 2023. I will also talk about the role of faith in addressing the challenges our communities face and the importance of the involvement of faith as part of international processes such as UN SDG, G20, G7, etc. And I would like to differ from my previous speaker. We did have interactions with other religious groups, other religious leaders, and we did include their views in the policy pack, which is available on our website. Under the able leadership of India, the G20 has recognized the significance of engaging diverse perspectives to tackle the multifaceted issues of our time. The C20, representing civil society organizations, has contributed significantly to this dialogue, channeling the voices and concerns of people from various walks of life. Through its 16 working groups, the C20 has focused on critical areas such as equitable development, climate action, digital inclusion, and gender equality. The outcomes achieved through the C20 engagement group have been truly remarkable. We have witnessed a renewed commitment to sustainable development with a strong emphasis on addressing the needs of the most vulnerable populations. Collaborative efforts have been initiated to accelerate the transition towards clean energy, making significant strides in combating climate change. The digital divide is being bridged, ensuring that technology benefits all members of society. Moreover, gender equality has been underscored as a fundamental principle for building inclusive economies and societies. In addressing the question of faith and its role in addressing challenges faced by our communities, we must recognize the inherent power of faith to inspire positive change. Faith can transcend boundaries and unite people, fostering compassion, solidarity, and a shared purpose. Throughout history, religion has driven individuals and communities to engage in acts of social justice, humanitarianism, and sustainable development. However, I want to highlight one point which I think is most important regarding faith-based solutions. Objectively speaking, religious faiths have seemingly contradictory approaches which we all have to accept. Nevertheless, the fundamental of all religions is spirituality or compassion towards fellow human beings and nature. If we move past the superficial differences, we will find the unifying principle that is the same in all religions. Religious faiths should give more importance to self-transformation than selfish and narrow-minded views. Self-transformation alone will help humanity to grow out of lower emotions such as hate, revenge, exploitation, and so forth, and gains purity in outlook. This, in turn, will help us focus on common goals and the common good. So it is essential to delve deeper past the surface of religions to fathom the real meaning and the essence they convey. My master, my guru, Amma, the C20 chair, says, looking down at other religions is like saying, my mother is beautiful and others and your mother is ugly. So that kind of attitude must go. It must be removed. This change in attitude will foster values such as empathy, compassion, and solidarity among their followers while embracing diversity and inclusivity and encouraging a collective effort toward positive change. By integrating faith into international processes, we tap into a powerful force that can help bridge gaps, promote understanding, and advance the shared goals of humanity. But for this, mere intellectual understanding or discussion is not enough. The intellectual understanding must filter into one's heart and need to be expressed as compassion, evenness of vision, understanding. And we should also understand diversity doesn't mean difference or division. Diversity means uniqueness. Everything is unique. So faith-based organizations' involvement is paramount in international processes such as the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and the G20, G7, and others. Their contributions can bring grassroots insights and mobilize resources, thereby driving localized actions and amplifying the impact of global initiatives. In the C20 chair's own words, together we created awareness about the need to embrace a more compassionate approach in all areas of life, and were able to incorporate the aspect of compassion into all its activities effortlessly. One key insight from the deliberations was that to ensure humanity's long-term existence and safety, it must embrace certain overarching values and principles and work together as a unified whole. The C20 India has published a 240-page policy pack encapsulating policies from the 16 working groups developed in collaboration with 6,000 plus CSOs and other organizations for the purview of the G20. The policy pack was released during the C20 final summit held in Jaipur with 1,090 attendees. Over the past 8 months, C20 reached out to more than 4.5 million people, including representatives of small grassroots and large-scale CSOs, government, multilateral agencies such as the UN, experts, academics, youth, students, and other G20 working groups and engagement groups. From January until July 2023, 12,040 plus events were conducted, including policy dialogues, chowpals, sahajasalas, and mass outreach programs, Jan Bhagidari in every state of India and abroad with 584 policy discussions. In addition, our organization, the Mata Amritanandamayi Mutt, conducted a worldwide grassroots survey across 43 countries and published 822 responses. I must say that Amma's leadership provided many unique and valuable contributions, including a basis firmly rooted in compassion and humanistic values. Overall, 150 participated in C20, illuminating the globe with the C20 tagline, "You are the light." This is the first time C20 has gathered so many international participants attending in person and online events. Both the G20 and C20 taglines, Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam, One Earth, One Family, Future, and You Are the Light, respectively, indicate the importance of every individual and their place in the world. C20 started with an initial outreach of 150,000 plus CSOs registered in India alone and international organizations that participated in previous years. 10,670 mass outreach campaigns across India and abroad focused on various areas such as health and environment, democracy, gender equality, interfaith dialogue, sense of service, and technology. C20 India's ethos of inclusivity and collaboration was manifested in inviting all participating CSOs to share worldwide best practices or udaharans and white papers. Around 500 udaharans and 60 white papers have been gathered, published, and freely available. This indicates the spirit of G20 tagline, "One world, one family, one future," an ethos that can only be achieved through working collectively with open mutual sharing. In conclusion, the outcomes of C20 engagement group under India's G20 presidency have demonstrated the potential of diverse voices coming together to address global challenges. Faith was vital in this endeavor as a unifying and transformative force. By engaging faith-based organizations in international processes such as the UN SDGs, G20, G7, and beyond, we unlock a powerful catalyst for positive change that can help us build a more just, inclusive, and sustainable world for all. Let me conclude with the chair's words, Amma's words. Nature is our first mother. She nurtures us throughout our lives. Just as a child is obligated to his birth mother, we should all feel an obligation and responsibility towards Mother Nature. If we forget this responsibility, it is equal to forgetting our own self. If we forget nature, we will cease to exist, for to do so is to walk towards death. So establish a loving companionship with the nature and learn to be compassionate. That will take care of climate change and gradually lead us to sustainable development and resilience. Thank you so much. Om Amradeshwari Namaha. Om Premamritanandamaye Nityam Namo Namaha.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for guiding us, Swamiji, with your beautiful words. And now I would like to once again request Kol Dharamji to share his thoughts the way we are going to move forward in this G20 Interfaith Summit.
Well, I think this session has been very helpful in terms of laying out what we're about, what we're trying to do. My few remarks here will be, in some sense, in the form of a vote of thanks. So can't be too thankful for myself, but I am very thankful for Swami Amrita. Now this time, I told him I wouldn't get this right twice. Amrita Swarapananda Puri. I think one of the things I think I want to really emphasize, as you listen to the scope of what he's talked about and what the C20 has done this year in India, I think it's an example of what we need to learn from India. He started out in a way by pointing out that, and we didn't need to give the impression that the C20 was not taking religion into account. But I think one of the things that the setting in India has done is made the importance of faith and religion even more significant for branches of the G20 like the C20. And we're particularly grateful that he could be here to represent that and give some kind of sense of the scope of what's being done and what is possible. And we're humbled by the magnitude of what you're able to do and have been able to do. And we hope that we can continue to reinforce and expand and do things along the same line. I think what I wanted to bring out is just two or three things. One, what's important is bringing out the best of religion, the best of religious history, the best of religion in being able to contribute to global policy. This entails a responsibility on the part of religious voices to delve deeper, as the Swami said, beyond the surfaces, where we can really have a profound analytic and substantive impact on policy. This demands more than just having a good and positive attitude. It means doing real intellectual work. And we're thankful for what the C20 is doing, and we're thankful for what our working groups are able to do. We're thankful also for the opportunities that we have here. I really like the phrase, "You are the light," that he shared with us, and we hope that we can help add to that light. We're thankful for all of you for being here. I think one of the major points, as I said last night, and I want to reiterate now, we have a tremendous opportunity to learn from India and from spirituality, from the linkage between nature, science, and spirituality that is symbolized by the dome that we're sitting in. So thank you very much, and we look forward to working forward in the various concurrent sessions as we go through the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kol Dharam Jr. Thank you very much for sharing that thought with us. And my friends, yes, indeed, it is very important, as he rightly said. We will have to explore the linkage between nature, science, and world peace. And I'm sure you all are aware. I would like to have your attention for next few minutes. My friends, I'm sure the format of this G20 summit, after this inaugural session is over, we all are going to split in various groups where specific topics would be discussed. And there are many topics, many rooms exactly below this particular auditorium where these discussions would be happening. There are a couple of topics which I would like to bring to your attention to. There is one topic in Nelson Mandela Hall on women empowerment. Another discussion happening there would be peace building and social peace. Yet another topic is social cohesion, stable societies and religion. So there are many topics we can explore, that many discussions that can happen. I'm sure that there are many hurdles in the path of world peace. There are religions, there are geographical tensions, there are, I would say, democratical issues, and these are just some of them. There are many such issues. Everyone present here today plays their small role in trying to solve these issues. But my friends, here is a man on stage who has walked that extra mile that must be walked and work toward the world peace, work toward the humanity. Mr. Rahul Karad, who is present here among us today, has been trying really hard for last more than a decade now to bring in the dialogue. Dialogue is one of the most important tools to resolve the conflicts and come above the tensions. My friends, Sri Rahul V. Karad has created and established many such platforms on which this dialogue can happen between the people. Bharatiya Chhatra Sansad, where students of this country can have a dialogue with the political leaders to minimize the gap. I'm sure we all are aware that there has been issues between various states of our country. Unless and until all states come together for a common cause, it is difficult for us to progress as one nation. He has been bringing the thought in front of all of us that we must break the colonial mindset and walk forward and understand our ethos, our values and our traditions. I shared with you in the morning that renaming our country from India to Bharat is one of that thought. But I would like to share with you that bringing all the states together is the cause that he was having in his mind. And I'm really happy to share with you, just a few days ago, we had witnessed a grand conclave of National Legislators Conference. My friends, please pay attention. For the very first time in the independent history of this country, the MLAs and MLCs of all the states of our country came together on one single platform to have a dialogue with only one vision and one mission, that is the progress of our country. The National Legislators Conference saw a grand success. I'm sure many of you could not witness that particular congregation, so I would like to take the help of a small film, and I would like to request my team if they can please show us that the glimpses of National Legislators Conference. the managing trustee and executive president of Miles MIT,
Thank you. Janani Janmabhumisha Swargadapi Gariyasi. Behalf of the bodies of trustees and our beloved founder, the creator of this World Peace Dome, all the staff, students of MIT World Peace University, MIT ADT University, and various other institutions, let me compliment Professor Cole Durham, one of the senior researcher, thinker, philosopher, and who has dedicated his life for this mission of interfaith. And because of his efforts, this conference of G20 Interfaith we are able to hold it here. Thank you, Professor Cole, for your efforts. I welcome you once again behalf of all my, this collective strength of this institution. Thank you so much. So we have another very important guest sitting on the dais. Just now, Swami Amrita Varsapurananda Puriji, President of Amrita Vishwavidyalaya. Just now we heard him. I wish to welcome him also from my bottom of heart. We heard also Catherine Marshall, the professor and senior fellow of executive director from Georgetown University. I think she shared her, the expressions here. Also we have Dr. Dalbir Singh Ji, who is also one of the like-minded soul, who is committed for this very mission of interfaith and we as a world and whole society as one family. Thank you, Honorable Dalbir Singh Ji, for your participation. And on the dais, we have Honorable Sheikh Al-Islam Al-Shakur Parshad Ji, a spiritual leader of Muslims in Azerbaijan. And thank you so much for your participation. We have our own, who is very well associated with MIT World Peace University from many years, Honorable Archbishop Flex Machado Ji. Thank you so much for your participation. We are grateful that you are always there to support this very idea of MIT World Peace University and the mission of our founder, Dr. Vishwanath Karad. I have no words to express my happiness, my dear friends, particularly all the delegates from different parts of the country. Our Vice Chancellor, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Dr. Chitnis, Professor Pandey, and many other leaders. They have put a lot of efforts to construct and build up this very historic, important conference happening in Amrit Kal. That is also one very important thing, 75 years of independence. What a great news yesterday. Last almost 3 years, we have been discussing, my dear friends, that can we change the name of India to Bharat? And we are hopeful that the bill of this particular change of our country's name, which is the original name used to be a Bharat, and we have been championing this very thought process last almost 3 years under the aegis of MIT World Peace University. And I'm very happy today that truly if we have to really go towards this very meaning of Bharat and the very mission and the purpose of our overall ethos of this country, I think this such dialogue will definitely take us to a different level. There are only 2-3 important points which I wish to share, my dear friends, that of course as a solution for these various ideas, naturally in next 2-3 days time till tomorrow evening. Yesterday also we heard some members discussing, but I always believe that what this example here in front of your eyes, one of the world's biggest dome for the humanity, what our founder has created, and we all are witnessing sitting in this very beautiful monumental structure. And almost over 12 years he worked on this very mission, my dear friends. The very one word of Swami Vivekananda, the unification of science and spirituality alone can bring peace to the mankind. This one word really, inspired in his lifetime. And at the age of 10, 12, he started his journey. And today what you see through this his manifestation, this edifice, what is constructed here as a World Peace Dome, which is one of the unique structure in the history of the mankind, what we see here. I wish to communicate to all the students and the staff of my institution also, and some international delegates also, that we have created one very unique world peace syllabus here at this place. To really take this idea of world peace ahead,
this laboratory of the world peace here is one very important aspect. But, but to take this very mission ahead, we have carved one syllabus, and I wish that all the world universities, I was told there are over 20,000 universities worldwide, my dear friends. If they truly resolve and some such syllabus, if we can adopt, I think many changes we can see in next 10, 20, 30 years down the line. Because we as intelligentsia, we as academia particularly, we have to understand that the fundamental, whatever area, those developments of technological advancements or in the medical field or any other field, these are very fundamental leaders here who have laid the foundation for the humanity, and they have given those thoughts for that how to live and how not to live. That is the message our founder is trying to give here through this very mission. And some such practical approaches, if we adopt in our education system, without any ego, without any such boundaries amongst ourselves, that I may be a proud Hindu, somebody is a Muslim, and as we all know that the religion is a way of life. Religion is never bigger than, humanity. Any religion, for that matter, is never, it is, and rather every religion teaches humanity. And I personally, with my little fundamental understanding, I feel somewhere in the journey of lifetime, we from the ages, with whatever we as a human being, with our own selfish thought process, sometime maybe we have adulterated very purest those fundamental, our scriptures of all the religions, I want to say that. And we as now the 21st century and the modern, with the current times, we all need to think on these lines, my dear friends, that with the time, how do we really change? And whatever that, those bad elements in every religion, how can we really filter? Just now, little film, what we saw just now, all the lawmakers, particularly even the politicians of the world, we all have to really understand. In my country, the biggest curse today, I feel that the casteism and the communalism. And in public life, in politics particularly, this is the biggest challenge. We all know that, my dear friends. How the votes are given to the distributed on the basis of caste and religion.